The best versus the worst rated game. Recently Overwatch 2 became the lowest rated game on Steam, staying at 9% with over 183,000 reviews, which is honestly impressive. But I wanted to find out why it was rated even lower than NBA 2K24, the recycled basketball game that will take up 150 gigabytes worth of space, even bigger than GTA Online and Warzone. But I also wanted to look at the other side of the spectrum and see what the best rated game was, which is Portal 2, sitting at 98% with almost 300,000 reviews. Now of course the negative E surrounding Overwatch 2 isn't because of the gameplay, because the gameplay is good. It's a little hard for them to mess it up because they already built that in Overwatch 1. So what was it actually about? The main problem with this game was greed, broken promises, and just plain stupidity. Let's start with the launch. The wait to get into this game, I wouldn't put my worst enemy through. But that was just the first challenge I had to get over. The second challenge was actually staying in the game. You could play for like 5 minutes and then you'd just be randomly kicked out of nowhere. You want to get back in, you need to get back in line and wait that whole time again. Having a queue on launch is understandable, it could be bigger than you expect. But to wait that long, only for a chance to get into the game and actually stay in it, was like trying to win the lottery. But after that, maybe you want to play the story mode, the main reason why Overwatch 2 could be called Overwatch 2. Sorry guys, it's not ready for launch, but don't worry, it's coming next year in 2023. Understandably, complications can happen during development. Delaying something is a good thing most of the time. This was not one of those times. This was more like, we want money, so we're going to give you Overwatch 1 rework in a very tiny font. But it's okay, because the story mode looks great. And we can wait just a little bit longer for it. So guys, we have removed talent trees from the story. Yep, that part of the story mode that looked really good and added replayability, gone. But don't worry, we still have your missions coming. It's like whenever they had news, chances are it was gonna be bad. I didn't play it myself personally, but from what I've heard the gameplay is okay, but the story is the actual good part, which is great. Now that's good, if they didn't mess it up by introducing character ages, which messes completely with the story that they've been trying to build. Now at first I didn't understand why it had so much drama around it. It's just like, okay, it's character ages, so what? But until I looked into it and I see why it's caused so much drama. They just slapped a number on and didn't actually consider the story that they've made. The funniest example for me was this picture right here. Kiriko is supposed to be like 5 or 6, makes sense. Then you have Genji and Hanzo right next to her, and according to the ages, they're supposed to be in their 20s. Adults. That's a little crazy to believe. But back onto why I didn't play Invasions. I didn't play it because it was locked behind a paywall of $15. There's no way. Okay, now I get to play a game, right? Right. Where's the missions? Wait, I need to buy missions.
World map initiated. I will report global threats here.
That was meant to come with a story. So the big reason why Overwatch 2 can be called Overwatch 2, you can't even get with the base game, you have to pay for it. That wouldn't be too bad if it was still Overwatch 1. That would make a bit of sense. But what separates Overwatch 2 from Overwatch 1 if you need to pay for the actual Overwatch 2 part? At this point it's just Overwatch 2 is Overwatch 1 rework plus story DLC which you need to pay for. It's one of the greediest games you could possibly play. Anything they can charge for, they will charge for. New heroes, you need to pay for them. Skins, they will charge you a premium price for those. Battle Pass, to be fair, Battle Pass isn't really an Overwatch issue, it's more like an industry issue. Because they're so widespread now, it's like a job to keep on top of all of those. So you can only focus on like 1 or 2 if you actually want to get the highest tier. So that pretty much covers everything that's gone wrong with Overwatch 2. But the worst thing that actually comes from this game, payload. I hate this game mode, I hate defending on this game mode. The worst defender on this list.
Defeat.
Now that you know everything, I'm sure you can understand why Overwatch 1.1 has become the lowest rated game on Steam. Now let's move on to a real gem of a game, Portal 2. Understandably, these two games are very different, One is multiplayer and one is single player and co-op, but Portal 2 has so much care and passion put into it. You could play it another 10 years from now and it would still be a great experience. First of all, the graphics in this game aged really well. I was expecting like 240p textures, but for a game that came out a decade ago, it still looks really good. For a game that came out in 2011, with a system like the Portals, you'd expect like some lag or some sort of jittering. That doesn't happen in this game, it's really seamless. Puzzle games usually put me to sleep, but with Portals in this game it creates a fresh experience that you won't really get in any other game. There's a good amount of freedom that you get with these puzzles in this game. You can do them pretty much how you want to, as long as you get to the end. Because I feel like I didn't really do it the way you were meant to do it, but it still worked. This game is around 7 hours long, and for the whole 7 hours it didn't feel like it was getting repetitive. Didn't get boring. It felt fresh because they were constantly giving you new ways to tackle a puzzle, because by the end they were constantly mixing them together, making the challenge a bit harder, but it wasn't to the point that it got annoying, so that was a good thing. There's also a co-op mode, and obviously like any other game, playing with co-op, you're gonna have a better experience that way as well. It's like the main focus of this game was how to keep it fun. How do we keep it fun for the whole duration? And I feel like they really nailed that point, which I feel like some games don't really do anymore, especially multiplayer. It's like, we have a great game here, but how do we make more money from it? And then it always just becomes an unfortunate cycle of just greed, and just greed until the end. The story and characters in this game are great as well. The story doesn't try to overcomplicate itself, and when you pair that with two characters that are both entertaining and funny...
Get ready to catch me. Alright, on the off chance that I'm not dead the moment I pop off this thing.
Okay.
On 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3! That's high. It's too high, isn't it, really, that? Alright, going on 3 just gives you too much time to think about it.
Don't let that horrible person thing discourage you. It's just a data point. If it makes you feel any better. Science has now validated your birth mother's decision to abandon you on a doorstep.
It's just a joy to go through and figure out how the story will develop along with your characters. I don't usually like silent protagonists because I feel like whenever they do that, they make it like the people can understand what you're saying, like they're reading your mind. But in this game, they play on that.
Okay, what you're doing there is jumping. You just jumped. But never mind. Say apple. Apple. Okay, you know what? That's close enough. Just hold tight.
It doesn't take itself too seriously. My only complaint is that my portal gun didn't appear for like half of the game, and that's really it. It kind of just bugged out. Other than that though, I had a great time playing this game, and I can completely see why it's rated the #1 game on Steam. So while these two are different types of games, one is a game filled with a lot of care and passion, and the other one is unfortunately a multiplayer game fueled by greed and broken promises. It's unfortunate that it went down that way, but that's kind of the landscape of multiplayer games at this point. If you play Overwatch 2, be prepared to spend a lot of money on anything you want in that game.
My story.